Hmm. The user has shared what appears to be a complete short story about power dynamics, wealth, and consequences. It's a well-crafted narrative about Clarissa Van Duran, a wealthy heiress who dismisses Lennox Bramble at an event, not realizing he's the financier behind her projects. When he quietly withdraws his $2 billion funding, her world begins to unravel. The story explores themes of privilege, humility, and the true nature of power. Clarissa represents inherited wealth and entitlement, while Lennox represents earned success and quiet integrity. The narrative shows how a single moment of disrespect can have cascading consequences when directed at someone who actually holds the power. I notice this is a complete literary work rather than a query or request. The user might be sharing creative writing for feedback, or perhaps they want me to analyze the themes. Since they didn't specify, I should acknowledge the story's strengths while leaving room for them to clarify what they need. The writing is quite strong. The author develops both characters effectively through showing rather than telling. The Charleston setting feels authentic, and the financial details add credibility. The contrast between Clarissa's public persona and private unraveling is particularly well handled. Key themes worth noting: the difference between perceived power and actual influence. How silence can be more powerful than spectacle. The cost of entitlement in business relationships. Redemption through self-reflection. The ending where Clarissa begins to change her behavior is satisfying without being unrealistically redemptive. Lennox's consistent character throughout demonstrates that true power doesn't need validation. Since the user shared this without a specific question, I'll respond by appreciating the narrative craft while inviting them to specify what they'd like to discuss about it. They might want writing feedback, thematic analysis, or perhaps they're sharing it simply because they're proud of the work. All valid reasons to post. That's a powerful and well-crafted story. You've masterfully woven themes of power, privilege, humility, consequence, and the silent but devastating impact of disrespect. It feels complete and resonates deeply. Here's a breakdown of why it works so well. Strong character contrast. You establish Clarissa and Lennox as perfect foils. Clarissa embodies inherited wealth, surface charm, entitlement, and a carefully curated image. Lennox represents earned success, quiet power, integrity, strategic thinking, and genuine connection to the communities he impacts. The inciting incident, the "I don't shake hands with staff" moment, is perfectly pitched. It's believable for Clarissa's character. Instantly reveals her core flaw, arrogance disguised as protocol, and sets the irreversible chain reaction in motion. Its simplicity makes it devastating. Consequences, not revenge. Lennox's response is brilliant. It's not vindictive or loud. It's strategic, professional, and devastatingly effective. Withdrawing the funding is a consequence of Clarissa's actions and values, not personal vengeance. He simply stops rewarding behavior he finds unacceptable. The power of silence. You brilliantly illustrate how Lennox's quiet withdrawal is far more damaging than any public scandal could be. The absence of noise creates uncertainty, spreads doubt like wildfire within her network, and leaves her powerless to spin or fight it conventionally. Nuanced character development. Clarissa's journey from dismissive arrogance to dawning realization, disbelief, frustration, and finally, a glimmer of painful self-reflection feels earned. Her inability to truly grasp why it matters until the very end is painfully realistic. Lennox's integrity. His backstory grounds him and makes his actions understandable and admirable. His core principle, if you don't recognize people, you don't deserve to profit from them, is the moral anchor of the story. His calmness in the face of her dismissal and during their meeting underscores his power. Tilda Renshaw, the reporter, is a great narrative device. She represents the outside world bearing witness and connecting the dots the insiders already know. Her article is the catalyst that turns the private financial withdrawal into a public reputational crisis, amplifying the consequences perfectly. The final meeting, the confrontation in Savannah, is perfectly executed. Lennox doesn't gloat or yell. He simply states facts and holds up a mirror. His question, "If someone else had said that to me, would you be sitting here today?" cuts to the core. Her inability to answer speaks volumes. The single page without her name is the ultimate silent verdict. The ending, the resolution, is satisfying. Lennox moves on, true to his principles. Clarissa is left diminished, not destroyed, but irrevocably changed. Her quiet reflection, "Why didn't I just shake his hand?" and the final scene where she chooses to introduce herself to a stranger show genuine, hard-won growth. The last lines beautifully encapsulate the story's core message. Setting and atmosphere. The Charleston brunch setting, the Savannah office, the descriptions of wealth and power contrasted with Lennox's understated presence, all create a vivid backdrop that enhances the themes. Pacing. The story unfolds deliberately, mirroring Lennox's quiet strategy. The financial unraveling feels realistic, and the escalation through Tilda's article to the final meeting is well-timed. Overall impression. This is a compelling modern fable about the true nature of power and influence. It demonstrates that respect is fundamental currency, that arrogance has consequences, and that real strength often lies in quiet integrity. It avoids melodrama, instead relying on sharp character observation, believable consequences, and a profound central message. It feels complete and impactful. If you were looking for anything specific, feedback on a particular element, e.g., character motivation, pacing of the financial fallout, the ending's tone, thoughts on potential expansion, it works perfectly as a self-contained story, but if you wanted to explore further, perhaps the long-term impact on Clarissa's projects or deeper dives into Lennox's past successes. Specific questions about craft, e.g., how you built tension, developed Lennox's backstory effectively. This is excellent work. Thank you for sharing it.